back to another episode of VentureVox.
Entrepreneur journey, it started when I was in the second year.
How do you balance these two roles? Do they ever intersect in surprising ways?
Believe in you, your vision, and the authenticity.
Who are some women, either in Sri Lanka or globally, who have inspired you on your journey?
Entrepreneurs have a very unique set of skills anyway.
So if you could share one message, one powerful message with aspiring women entrepreneurs today, what would it be? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of VentureVox, brought to you by the Entrepreneurship Club of APIIT Kandy. I'm Hassan Abdulaziz, and I'll be your host for today. Our guest today began her career in academia, but through her journey, found a passion to become an entrepreneur. And today, she is one of Sri Lanka's most inspirational female entrepreneurs. She is none other than the owner and CEO of Rara Designs, Miss Alosha Herath. Welcome to the podcast. Miss Herath, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started my journey as, like you said, from academia. I went to the law faculty of Colombo, did my first degree there, and did my second degree in business administration. And then I became a lawyer, which is my profession, I would say. And then in the meantime, I have completed 3 master's programs. And when it comes to the entrepreneur journey, it started when I was in the second year. So right now I'm heading a business school in a private institution while I'm engaged in my professional consultancy work, especially for the startups. And then I'm lecturing the entrepreneurship modules as well. So I think I balance a bit from the entrepreneur side as well as the academic side. And then most importantly, I enjoy doing all of that. So yeah, that's briefly about me.
Let's start with your journey. What sparked your interest in entrepreneurship, and how did Rara Designs come to life?
Okay. So when I was a kid, I would say from 5 years, I was very much into drawing, DIY and all that. And my parents also encouraged me a lot because I was not doing academics really well. I mean, and my parents didn't even wanted me to be excelling in academics because, being a kid, it's about enjoying your childhood. So when I came to age of when I was in grade 11, 12, where we sort of decide what career path or what we want to be, I wanted to be a designer. But at the same time, I had this idea that I want to be a lawyer as well. So when I did my A-levels, I wanted to do fashion designing and have my own brand and all that dream, right? But I was island third in that particular year. And then that sort of told me, in my head, I was like, go to the law faculty, right? So do that because that's going to, that should be what you pursue. So yeah, I went to the law faculty, but I started missing out all the drawings and all the crazy stuff I used to do. I enjoyed them quite a lot. So then when I was in the first year, I thought I should have at least as a hobby to draw, to design and things like that. But then I am somebody who is little bit more into fashion side. So I thought why not I make something for myself which I can wear. So it was in the first year I started making earrings for me. And then I saw a little bit of potential and I started a degree in business administration together with my LLB. So I felt what if I make a business out of it? So back then, online platforms were not very common. So it was only there was Instagram and Facebook was there. So I sort of started, I didn't know it was exactly marketing, but I started posting, and then most of the time my friends gave me orders. So it started very small. I can't even remember whether I had a budget. It was just some beads I had at home, which I took a wire and made something out of it. And people started complimenting. So I thought, okay, seems like I'm good at it. I don't know. But then that's how it started. I would say very little it started, but now it has grown to a level where it exports and it has some local presence as well. And I'm planning to expand the local presence. So yeah, that's how it started.
Being both an entrepreneur and an academic, how do you balance these two roles? Do they ever intersect in surprising ways?
Yeah, balancing is challenging because we all know that we have only 24 hours in, in the clock for a day. So with the work, it is challenging. But since I take my brand more like a hobby, I sort of tend to like somehow find time. It's not that I have allocated like an hour every day for the brand, but sometimes I spend days working on designs and then working on logistic and productions and all the things. But at the same time, there are weeks I pass without doing anything for the business, which is something I should work on as well. But since you asked about whether they have
Yes, if they,
intersect,
yeah,
right?
intersect in surprising ways.
Yes. So one thing is that so I teach entrepreneurial modules, entrepreneurship, startup culture, those modules. So I learn to teach a module. To be honest, sometimes I do my research. The lecturers doesn't know everything, right? So we do. When I do the research, I also learn about other entrepreneurs. So I learn from them, and so because I do in the academia, I get the chance to learn about entrepreneurship and then how I can utilize it to improve my business. With all that, I would say it sometimes intersect in fascinating ways, which is good for the both sides. Yes.
Yes. What has been the most rewarding part of your entrepreneurial journey so far, and what's a challenge you didn't expect?
Well, the most rewarding would be whenever I see somebody wearing my brand. So, so this brand, even though it started initially selling to my friends and all, later on it became only export oriented. So I didn't had any local presence. But then I realized, well, like that's not rewarding. Maybe I'm getting some like amount deposited to my bank and all, but it's not rewarding. So then I started partnering with some local retailers, and then having that local presence made people wear my brand. So that when I see someone wearing my brand, like I would literally pay, like like to see that. So that's so rewarding. It will make up my weeks, months sometimes. I rarely see that, right? Because this is mostly sort of a foreigners, the tourist targeted. But that's why I said that I'm working on like having it more locally worn. So yeah, that's most rewarding. And then an unexpected challenge would be one thing in terms of scaling up. I had a huge challenge because when I get we'll say a big order, so I do get, I spend a lot of time on designing. So with that, sometimes I find it little, not little, very challenging to keep up with the orders, especially the export ones. So yeah.
Women entrepreneurs often face unique challenges. Did you experience any gender related barriers, and how did you navigate them?
Um, Not that I have specifically faced any incident where I was discriminated, but like with a huge but there, because sometimes generally I would say that there are certain perceptions of women, like how they should be and like what they should do,
That's true.
especially like given our culture that's there. So sometimes when I go and speak in certain forums and like do my thing and then present my product and pitch my product and all that. I have seen people like giving these judgmental looks as if like they ask question like, "Are you married?" and like, "Do you have kids?" and the general sort of.
Not related to your business
Yes,
or even your
exactly.
career.
But it sort of gives this subtle message, oh, okay, you are doing this because you are not married or like because you don't have kids, like as if like I'm supposed to do all that, but not this, right?
Yes.
So there are certain situations I have faced such, I can't say discrimination per se, but sort of downgrade in comments. But I really, like, do not care because even I have seen my mother, who is an entrepreneur, and my sister, both of them are entrepreneurs. So then, I would say, bigger than me as entrepreneurs. So I have seen that how they have faced such discrimination, especially how my mother, she's in a field which is predominantly male oriented, which is surveying. She's having a land surveying company. So I have seen how she handled it, and then some people even like ask, like, you being a woman, like how can you like survive in this field, right? Because it's going to the field and doing surveys, it's really hard for a woman. But if somebody is passionate and wants to do it, I don't think anybody should pass judgment about it, right?
True.
So yeah, I take it very lightly. I usually take things very lightly, generally. I'm not saying that I'm not serious, but when it's needed, I am. But like generally, I just like show a blind eye to those people and then move on with my life.
True. So what you were saying is that the entrepreneurial mindset sort of runs in the family.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Many women hesitate to start businesses due to societal expectations. What advice would you give to those struggling with self-doubt?
Well, yeah, I see that a lot. Self doubt is because there are a lot because for the right reasons, especially like I said previously, generally with how the society works and all, there can be a lot of self doubt for women. I would just say, like, just keep the first step, right? When you start it, you will have the drive to carry it on. Don't think about what challenges are going to come. I mean, like, you can do a risk analysis and do all that. I think you all have learned, like,
Yes,
like,
that's
oh, how it all happens. But true, you have to be aware, but keep the first step, right? Do not hear about, I mean, there will be self-doubt. It's like, it's common, like we all face the self-doubt. We all have these insecurities, self-doubts, and there can be something in your brain saying you can't, right? But like, why you let them over, like, overtake you, right? So
it's
then
true.
just start from the, like, just keep your first step. So that's my
And
advice.
build the momentum, basically.
Exactly, yeah. Eventually you will get there, and maybe keep manifesting,
Yeah.
and then keep the first step. That's it, yes.
Do you think our current education system prepares students well for entrepreneurship? What changes would you like to see?
Um, I think theoretically it sort of lays a solid foundation, but not that we do have special subjects which teach about entrepreneurship. But there are certain initiatives I have seen even at my school. I think Satipola,
Right.
like things like that happen, but it doesn't really like even will say polar. I have been to polar. I have
Yeah.
sold carapilch and stuff, but in the small school level fairs, you do not get any guidance as to, like, you just bring something from your home and just sell it. You
True.
have no idea that it's entrepreneurial thing, or like that's you running a business or anything like that. I wish if there is some sort of a like a guidance, like a mentorship from the teachers, and then do that. That would be great. Yeah.
That sounds good. So what you're saying is the current system has a stepping stone and they have to just enhance on it.
Exactly, yes. So that's something I would think we can do in terms
Yeah.
of the primary education. So with that mindset built in a student, I think I don't think in our education system the emphasis is given for the need of entrepreneurship, especially given the fact that Sri Lanka is in a economic recession. This is like one of the greatest solutions for us to overcome this, like having more entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, if we can empower them. But that step we don't see it there. But in universities, luckily, like here at APIIT, we see that there are a lot of initiatives that are happening. But if we can start from the school level, that would be great, in my
Grassroots,
opinion. Yeah.
basically. From a legal education perspective, what are some key legal or business skills you believe every entrepreneur should have?
Well, entrepreneurs has a very unique set of skills, anyways, right? But since you asked, like, what sort of legal skills, I would say the skills to draft a contract, not per se to draft, but having an idea about contract drafting, like what key elements has to be there in a contract, because you can hire a lawyer to draft it, but then for you to comprehend it, I think it's important that you have a general understanding of contract law. And then other thing is financial literacy. So we have seen a lot of people in rural areas which have the passion to start their businesses, but what they lack is the financial literacy. So that's again another skill I would think has to be there in an entrepreneur. Other than that, general negotiation skills. You don't have to be a lawyer to have the negotiation skills. If you go to PETA, you see better negotiations than like us closing deals in corporate rooms. But that is a skill. But that is also something that a lot of entrepreneurs need, especially entrepreneurs who are into designing and things like that. So they are artists and they sort of lack that negotiation skills, and they are like, like buy it for whatever the price. They do not
True.
bargain, right? So that is a skill that they are lacking. If they can improve on that skills, I think they can go a long journey. Like that's something I also sometimes think that I sort of am not very good. I do negotiate, but as a generally as a brand, as an entrepreneur, my negotiating skills sometimes aren't the best. So yeah, that of course I think, and then again, I usually having some mentorship, and so for me, I do get mentorship from my home itself. But there are a lot of mentorship programs for entrepreneurs, and there are clubs. So then through those, I think one can work on their skills and then first identify what are their weaknesses where they have to improve, and then they can work on them.
One thing I've noticed with a few entrepreneurs is that when it comes to pricing, there's this social stigma where they're like shy to tell the price.
Exactly.
And you have you seen that in the entrepreneurs world?
Yes. Sometimes we talk about the deal towards the very end only we ask the price, right?
True,
Very towards the end we talk about the money, really,
they're
right?
very shy to speak about the
Exactly.
money.
That's I don't know whether it's a Sri Lankan thing. Sometimes in the beginning of certain other international entrepreneurs I have seen, they are about the deal, like the value, like this is value valued at this amount. So, but here we are like, even when it comes to legal work, also I have seen that like we people are very shy to ask like how much it's going to cost. On the other hand, we are also shy to like tell them how much we are going to charge, right? So yeah, that's a really good observation.
That's
Yeah.
Who are some women, either in Sri Lanka or globally, who have inspired you on your journey?
There are quite a few. First of all, I should talk about my mother and my sister. They are the first ones. I think if it wasn't for them, especially to my mother, I wouldn't even be thinking that I can do this, right? So yeah, then in the international context, I would say Oprah Winfrey and Sarah. So generally, like the this common, very famous entrepreneurs, I have read their biographies, and yeah, that of course has inspired me. But in a local context, I would say, of course, Uttara, and then Kasturi Selvaraja. So those women has, I think, shown that they are examples that despite all the societal expectations, and then like all these discrimination, women can excel in their entrepreneurial or whatever the other corporate fields they want to be in. So yeah, those are the people that who has inspired me. There are quite a few. I mean, like sometimes even like people I see in the road selling things, and then like I yeah, even my students sometimes inspire me. That I have had some students who have their own businesses, and then that is also very inspiring because that reminds me how I was as an undergraduate, and then that's quite inspiring. So I learn from pretty much everybody, like whoever I meet.
So, any an entrepreneur you see, basically, it's a learning opportunity for you, and it
Ex-
inspires you.
Exactly. So you're in a classroom. I would always say that we are learning partners. I don't see myself as a lecturer. So it's it's a sort of like a mutual give and take that I expect, but most of the time, well, I give and I take a little, but still, that's very normal. But yeah, so I always think that as an entrepreneur, we have to have a growth mindset. So like have to be open for criticisms, even though if it's not constructive criticisms, even if it's very blunt, like good criticism, we're happy to take it and grow further. Yeah.
So, if you could share one message, one powerful message with aspiring women entrepreneurs today, what would it be?
Yeah. For all the aspiring women entrepreneurs, I would say believe in you, your vision, and the authenticity. So in Sri Lanka, we are in a dire need for having more women entrepreneurs. Well, generally entrepreneurs, but especially women. There are a lot of women to be empowered, and especially those with potential. And so they have to first believe in themselves, like you said previously, the self doubt. So they have to overcome the self doubt and then believe in them and their vision. And then they have to have something authentic, something unique, something valuable, or like adds value, right?
An X factor, basically.
Exactly, right? So then that is my final message, and start little. You will have a long journey to go.
Well, Miss Herat, it has been an honor to listen to your story here firsthand. On behalf of the club, I wish you nothing but success in the years to come. Thank you very much for being on today's show.
Thank you for having me here as well, and good luck with good luck for everybody with all the future endeavors. Yeah.
And that's it from me, viewers and listeners. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. Thanks for tuning in.